Good morning, Steve Conley. How are you?
Fantastic. Dan, how the heck are you?
I am okay. How about yourself?
Good. Like that shelf is sparse behind you. I'm used to it's like usually it's like jangling your keys in front of me. It keeps me occupied. I'm always staring at the stuff back there.
Yeah, because it's definitely not stuff I say.
No, God, no.
No. Yeah, I think I got to figure out what to put on there with my Batleth. Maybe some Klingon stuff, or we'll see. It changes.
That's great. Have you ever played a Star Trek role-playing game?
I played the original Faza version way back in the day.
Sure.
And I still have. I have it over. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 different versions of Star Trek RPG over there on my shelves.
That's awesome.
I buy more than I play.
The FASA one, like it had like room for every bridge, every person on the bridge. Like you'd have it was really crazy. I mean, if I remember correctly, it was like the total coordination of the team, where you have an engineer who would be like, okay, I'm going to give out the energy based on the captain's orders. X amount goes to navigation, X amount goes to weapons, X amount goes to really wild that they gave the bridge crew stuff to do.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked. I mean, it was kind of had that traveler feeling of making your character without the threat of death. But how long are you in Starfleet and Academy, and then what your missions before this started, and then it came with a great set of maps of the Enterprise.
Right. Yeah. All that stuff was great.
Yeah.
All the source books, Orion's, the Klingon books, and they were tied. I think I had there was a Star Trek 4 source book when the fourth movie came out, and you have like the rules for the cat people and the Caitians and basically all those ambassadors who were at the end scene in Star Trek 4. Like they create here's how you can play those. And I always when I was rolling out my characters, I always want to be a Vulcan. Since they lived longer, they could spend longer training.
Yeah.
they came out of okay, so I'm 80 years old, but I'm not.
Yeah, and then let's see. Last Unicorn did one.
Really?
Not Last Unicorn. Yeah. What was Unicorn name? Not Last Unicorn.
Wasn't it?
Was it Last?
I think so.
That Last Unicorn was a movie and a book.
Yeah.
Is it an RPG too? Company?
Oh, you're saying the company name. Maybe a company took their name after that. That'd be interesting.
There's some sort of unicorn. And then Decipher I've got.
Gotcha. I was just looking at that in a games my friendly local game store yesterday.
So, Star Trek aside, last Monday I sat down at the computer with comedians Elliot White, Calvin Eggerston, and Brent Reed to record the first episode, session 0 or 0.5 of Catacombs and Comedians Podventure Cast.
Okay, so what does that episode entail? Is that when you roll up characters, or do you already have the characters by now?
We already had the characters. It's sort of getting them together and sort of introductory adventure on getting them together as a team. We played a good hour and a half, 2 hours, which is like the length I like to play for podcast type games. Right. Or streaming games. And then at the end of the game, I realized I did not hit record.
I saw that note on the Facebook, and I didn't know how to respond to it.
I think the hug emote would have worked.
Maybe it's like I didn't want to click or I'm like more like a picture of heartbreak. How were you using StreamYard?
I was using StreamYard.
But you were recording it to you were trying to record it to your hard drive. You weren't live on any network that would have backed up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you think you were broadcasting to Twitch and YouTube, or were you trying to?
No, that wasn't. I didn't have that on at all.
Gotcha.
It was just
going to record locally, and then you were going to edit it or add it.
Exactly. Yeah, because I wanted to use the face-to-face just so it's easier to interact with my players, not that we were going to stream it. So yeah, so that was a learning experience. The guys took
How
it in
long?
stride. It was fine.
Oh, so you noticed at the end of it, like you were like, okay, and that's the adventure, and you went to hit the end stream button, and you went, oh god.
Yep, exactly it.
Well, good. That was a good practice, a good dry run. That was what it was. It was a good
Yeah, that's what the
rehearsal.
guys said. They said, okay, good. We got our, help to get our feelings with, each other. And, they were coming up with all sorts of excuses to make me feel good. Kevin was doing a Russian type accent for his character. And he's like, good. Now, since that one's not going out, I don't have to use that accent anymore. It's too hard to do throughout the whole
He got
game.
tired of it. The experience taught him something.
So we're going to try to do it again this Monday with the, adventure 1. I'm not going to do the same adventure with those guys, but so we'll see how that goes.
That is bracing.
Yeah.
Was there, well, I won't, so lessons learned,
Right.
triple check the record button, I guess. Is there any other way to back it up so that on the, like, are you able to record to StreamYard's own service so that there's a copy there's a copy locally, that sort of thing? Is there any?
I don't know. Now, I did have Audacity running in the background as a backup. So I do have a recording of it, but it's not a good recording of it because it's mostly picking up my mic.
Right.
But I haven't even opened the file to check it out yet, but maybe down the road I'll show, I'll have time to edit it and fix it and improve the quality of it. And maybe we'll have the lost episode of Podventure.
That's great.
That's great. But yeah, so that was kind of a kick in the
nads. Yeah.
Twig and some berries.
So in the good berries, are we staying the D&D terms? All right. So, wow. So you went to sleep Monday night, not feeling great.
No.
All right. So, well, I also saw that. Well, you talked to me online about offline, excuse me, about a Catacombs and Creators thing you're cooking up.
Yeah.
I guess you could argue better with a podcast episode on a at least it wasn't your penultimate episode where all these things like you've taken a team through this whole adventure and it's like we're coming up to the ending of it and you've unveiled all these secrets that are like mind-blowing and oh crap, I forgot to hit record because they lose their impact the second time around, whereas session 0, a dry run, you're testing out voices and stuff, that all feels like of all the ones to miss, that was the one to miss.
And I almost feel that if the crew were relieved that that's not going to be their first one. That's
funny. That's great.
Yeah. So maybe it all worked out in the end and everything's good and everybody will be happy. But Podventure Cast is coming soon.
That's great.
We've had a dress rehearsal.
That's lovely. Yeah, I mean, of all the times to have it, that was the time, and I'm glad the team was a good sport about it.
Yeah, just hope my other team for the stream presentation of Wormageddon with creators, Catacombs and Creators, in which you will be a member of, will be as forgiving when I forget to record that episode.
I imagine a solid percentage of them will be forgiving. One out of however many people, I'll certainly be forgiving.
There'll be 4 of you.
Have you haven't announced that at all?
Not officially, no. Yeah, because I just narrowed down the 4 players, and you know them all, I believe, right?
Yeah, I do. No, I don't. I know or have met 2 of them. One of them I just know of.
No, you've met all of them.
Have I?
I believe so. At Gamehole Con, I'm sure you met all 3 of them were at Gamehole Con.
Oh wait, maybe I did. I'll have to refresh my memory.
Yeah. So because I threw that, sort of, I threw out some lines out in the sea to see who would be interested, and I went, okay, well, I think I can work with all these, this guy and this guy and this guy, and this guy,
all these idiots, these yahoos.
But I've been working on that this week as well, and got something to show you for that. I commissioned a map. It was I had a map that I had made a while back for something. I never used it. So then I gave it, you know me. So then I gave it to a real cartographer, and had him, do it up nice and neat. And I am.
I had this. I brought to Gamehole Con for Mr. Easley to sign, but I realized that this is a pretty good indication of your intellectual workspace. I feel
it is. I feel
like there's all these things.
I'm envious of that beard. So, without further ado, and I don't have a name for this yet, but here's the map it's going to take place on, and I wanted to do something different. So it's all mountains and jungles.
Wow.
With some volcanoes,
Can you say who you commissioned that from?
Oscar P on Fiverr.
On Fiverr. Wow.
Yeah. And we went back and forth on things, tweak that, tweak this. He gave me a bunch of different versions. So let me find where I've got it posted. Here we go. So I've got these volcanoes. And then it's all bound to these, rugged mountain terrain throughout most of it, except where the jungle's, breaking through. And this is, again, a post-apocalyptic or post-dracolyptic, because it's sort of after the dragons have wiped out nearly almost everything. So this should be fun. It's going to be different. It's not going to be your typical woodland, Tolkien-esque Forgotten Realms type setting. I wanted to, explore some different realms and different, think a little bit outside the box as far as. So I've never done like a jungle. I mean, there's no forest. This is all jungle stuff. So it's going to be a whole new batch of, because it's always forest or plains or, that sort of thing.
When you say not Tolkien-esque, having I don't know how much you want to discuss on the stream, but will that limit the choices of the players to cook up, like, I don't know, let's say one of the players wants to bring a tabaxi. I mean, how much?
Yes, I will have a list of approved races. I can tell you kobold will be one of them.
That will be an approved one.
Gotcha. Yes. Basically kobold, human, dwarfs. And then like the elves are not going to be standard elves. Without sounding, inappropriate, elves that dwell in jungles, So I think I've got an idea for gnomes, a certain type of gnomes. Most of the regular races, but again, no tieflings. Unless you have a really good reason. And so again, you got to keep in mind it is a post-apocalyptic type of world. So there's no huge water deep city anymore. There's no that type of thing. Does that make sense?
I think it does. It does.
I can tell how excited you are.
You have unveiled something that's pretty huge. That's amazing.
Yeah. So
what would my ideal reaction have been? Holy hell! I'm excited.
No,
I feel like it's just because at the beginning of it is okay. Here's your homework assignment. Like
yeah.
I'm like okay. Mm-hmm. And also it's a thing where whenever I play a game, so far every D&D game I've played in the modern era, I've intentionally played a support character. So part of that is like having to know what the other people are doing and what they're playing. Right. Almost everybody wants to dish out damage or something like that. Okay, fine, I'll be the healer, or fine, I'll be the bard who gives a +1 to this, or bardic inspiration, that sort of thing. I don't know. It depends. The whole idea that it could be much more wild than that, or less organized than that, or more random than that is interesting.
This weekend, I want to send notices out to all my players, and including you, about, okay, here, let's start thinking about how we're going to do this. Here's here are the races, here's the map, here's the sort of vibe of it. You might want to watch the movie Reign of Fire to get in the feel of it.
When you say post-apocalyptic or dracolyptic, is it still we're still dealing with magic missile? Or are you talking about we're using ray guns and rifles?
It's still magic missile. It's still that sort of imagine if dragons had devastated the Forgotten Realms.
Gotcha. I just, when you said, Reign of Fire, I think about
Matthew McConaughey going, all right, it's a dragon.
Yeah, it's basically someone took their notebook doodles of tanks shooting at dragons and said, this is my pitch for a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be Forgotten Realms, devastated by dragons, sort of thing.
Gotcha. That's
in
fun.
a jungle, in mountains and jungles.
Well, I won't get it. I'd love to ask about the creative thought behind that. Like, why jungles?
I've never done it before.
That's a good reason. That's a really good reason.
I wanted to make it different than, here's the forest, here's the owlbear, Yeah, just sort of. And I mean, it looks chaotic, the map, and it's too busy with mountains, but that's part of the fun with it.
Well, who gave us the map? So it's like, were they right? Were they wrong? Was it before the last cataclysm? Is the map in fact different than, like, I love anything that's unreliable narrator, because it just, here's the map you find, and there's like, oh, how old is this map? What has happened since this map? And there's tons of stuff you get to play. So we go to something on the map is all forest and jungle, or all jungle and mountain, and we go there and it's a crater.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. So that's the state of the Dan as far as Wormageddon goes. The Catacombs and Creators posted Dracolyptic actual play streaming show coming to your streaming source soon.
Have you seen that? Is it one of the people in Catacombs and Creators at Gamehole Con, Anthony Rivera?
Yeah,
Anthony Joyce Rivera. He's working on a streaming service. Have you seen his notes about that?
Yes. In fact, I think I'll be one of the first
beta testers of it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I don't know. I got to talk with Anthony, get some more details. Maybe, Catacombs and Creators Wormageddon will be on that. I don't know yet. We'll see. Cool. I haven't, but yeah, he said I got a spot, so we'll see how it goes.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome.
Because it's, as long as it reminds you to hit record before.
You'll probably hear that from all your players from now on. Like, are we recording, Dan? Are we recording?
That's good. They should do it anyway.
And we're live. Are we?
Yeah. So what's new in your world?
My world has been spent, I think, following up on last week's conversation, talking about working on the Prayer's Handbook, the Metadomain Cleric, which is the latest crowdfunded thing I've done. I'm still in production on that. I added a bunch of creatures to it, so I'm kind of cramming them all into the book. And so far, so good. I think every illustration of the monsters is done. There's one last one that I was sculpting on this my streams. I've paused my Twitch streams through the end of the month. I'm basically taking I'm taking stock of what I'm doing with my streaming time and how to best balance that with getting my webcomic done and doing all these other things. Because there's just some things that's just part of the process, which I don't think are very filmic. I can't really be on stream and writing and having a chat over here. And like, I'm suddenly neglecting people, and there's not enough people there to entertain themselves if I'm focused on something. Mm-hmm. So, and my creative process has never been collaborative. So it's not like, hey, I'm going to throw out this idea. What do you all think on the fly? And, see 15 ideas and have to either love one idea and reject 14. That's not how I don't like to play that way. So I'm juggling my schedule that way. But the main thing is I've been working on Metadomain, and it's very close to being ready for some last minute proofing, which I'm very happy about. I think it's as good as I could have done it in the time I had. I think it's a project that I could probably spend years on. Like, I could probably noodle it forever till long after people stop playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's really a rich vein of material, but I could publish errata later. I mean, there was a whole idea of, so you know the concept that you're a cleric who thinks there's a who thinks this all might be a game, and at level 8 they learn their player's name. At level 17 they learn about the game master, the adversary, and the idea at one point was I'm going to have 2 pages in the book just talking about how your player might not be your player, how Dan, the player of Dan's cleric, isn't Dan, it is Eddie Munson.
Yeah,
like you create a player to be the player that the character worships, and like that level of Russian doll just isn't going to fit. It's not going to fit. So I think the audience is better served with more magic spells and more monsters and more magic items than the idea of adding yet another layer to this thing. So, but I could see adding that at some point, or making, here's a PDF bonus for everybody. Here's, if you want to make your player not you, or I'm going to, I'll make a note about that in this one page, which is, can we be real for a moment? And on that page, I've got recommendations for media to look at. I've got recommendations, all sorts of little notes to the player and to the dungeon master. And I can include a note about that as if you want to take it to the next level, consider something like this, but not constructing all the rules. Because basically what it comes down to is it's a chart of rolling what your what your player is. Like it's a teenage kid from Secaucus, or it's a divorcee from Manitoba. You basically just come up with it, and they work part-time in an accountancy. All those things is like weird and dumb and perfect for layering in this parfait of stupid. So that's what I'm working on, Dan.
No, okay, glad I asked. No, yeah, because if I play a meta domain character, I'm not going to be my character's player. I would just say it's
really.
I would just come up. It's a guy named Kevin who You
don't want their character to yell out by the silvery beard of Dan and strike their opponent.
No, it'd be Kevin who goes to a community college and works in a bike shop.
Sure.
Yeah. Or an old grognard type character, that I could, just.
Yeah. But how would you get into how would you think like them? How would you find yourself? What kind of deep acting lessons would you do to sort of put yourself in the shoes of a grognard? Just imagine what that might be like.
For the grumpy grognard.
Yeah. The idea of being a grumpy older player.
Speaking of that, I got more swag made for my shows.
Really?
I got this little button made.
I can't read the top.
5e and beyond grognards.
Fantastic.
Because I'm an old guy, but I like to advance. So I'm bringing these to GaryCon with me.
Nice.
And then I also got some good old 4D20 ones.
Excellent.
And Catacombs and Creators.
How about that?
So, and then my dime bags showed up. Yeah.
And how's work on 4D20 coming along?
Slowly but surely. I'll definitely have a launch on April 20th. No fear.
That's excellent.
And
how long do you think it'll take for it to be ready to go out to folks? Do you think end of the year?
End of the year is my goal.
Sweet.
I'm hopefully I'll be comfortably, and that'll basically just be coming up with the 420 spells or something like that for.
Oh, geez, Louise. Is there did we talk last week about the release schedule of D&D that they announced that?
No, we didn't. We didn't. I think that came out right after we. But yeah, what's it? Mid-September is when the Player's Handbook comes out.
Yeah, like September 17th, and then the DMG in November. And then the Monster Manual March?
February.
February?
Yeah.
Gotcha. How do you feel about that? What do you think about that?
I wish they were closer together. I don't mind September.
You want them all kind of, you'd rather be able to buy all 3 books at once?
Are a month apart, maybe. Do September, October, November.
I think it seems to be good news for all of us who like 5, because if you have the player's handbook and it's 2 months before the Dungeon Master's Guide comes out, so anyone playing for those 2 months, I guess they're expected to be using the new player's handbook, the 2024 player's handbook, and the 2014 DMG. So it feels like there's an expectation of seamless compatibility or minor seams.
Right? Yeah, and the Monster Manual for one. I mean,
you're still using the Monster Manual, and for what was that, 5 months, 6 months?
Yeah. So hopefully that's a good sign that they are, interweavable.
Yeah.
To a workable stance. I don't have any idea what interweavable to a workable stance means, but that's.
Well, how much of the stuff that you've produced so far is 5e specific? Because I think the Dirk of Many Stings is kind of is it 5e or is it more system agnostic?
It's 5e.
Gotcha.
I think I've slapped like a 5e logo on it, compatible with 5e, but it's not hard to.
Right, because to me it was more. It's 95% flavor.
Yeah,
and a few and then a little bit of stats.
I like most of my stuff is more fluff than crunch.
Right.
Because generally my crunch is broken.
So the release of the new system is not even it's just you have to make room on your shelves. That's the only real effect it'll have for you.
For me, I think so.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great. But to be honest with you, that's all any edition has been. I happily move on to the next edition. I don't have. And then I got all sorts of like Shadow Dark. I got a copy of that. You heard of Shadow Dark, right?
Sure.
Everybody's praising that, and that the hard copies just came available last Monday. So I ordered, and I already have my physical copy in hand. I was alerted this morning that the Kobold Press Tales of the Valiant Dungeon Master's Guide crowdfunding campaign came to a close, and they collected my money for that.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm not slowing down on any of my other books as well. Not that I'll play any of them, but it's got to be something.
At one point, I thought you were talking about having being an early adopter of Tales of the Valiant and maybe producing a product for it. Are you still thinking about doing that?
I am, but it all depends on when they get it out.
Right.
It doesn't sound like they're hurrying anything. So,
right.
And I'm not going to concentrate on worrying about that at this point right now.
Right. So everything you're doing is basically all revolves around Catacombs and Comedians, your own system of 4D20, and then producing one-off things as they come to you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, and those are just itches that I need to scratch. Ooh, that's a neat idea. That's a neat pun. I could make a little zine out of that 12 people will buy, and then I'll, move on to the next. But yeah, and then I also got another one I backed. The Weird Wizard just came to a close.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And I got the PDF of that yesterday. So I don't know if we're going to be here next week, Steve. I'll be home, and maybe hopefully we'll get one off. But that following Monday, I'm leaving for vacation with the family.
I think I saw a post about that.
Yeah, you saw the video. You saw the video, and you know where we're going. So,
excuse me. That's fantastic.
I'm looking forward to that. And then also, it's been hard to get any real work done this week because my lovely 8-year-old daughter, Jean Louise, is a major Minecraft nut, and she finally talked her old man into playing Minecraft with her. So her and I are playing on a little two-player server.
Oh, that's lovely.
So this week I've just been addicted by playing Minecraft.
So, but you're still going to do GaryCon, right?
Yeah, I'm still doing GaryCon. I need your grognard information so I can work it into my adventure. I got to get that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
you'll get that, and like I said, I'm going to mail out this gigantic grognard to you.
And that'll be center stage. But yeah, I'm working on that. I gotta get my adventures ready for my 2 games. And I think the gold membership players are about getting their event tickets this weekend for GaryCon.
Oh wow.
I'll be next weekend because I'm silver.
What is I don't know what that means. What is it?
Tier levels. There's platinum, gold tier. So if you're platinum,
you get first dibs on the events.
You get a week's first dibs on events.
But
they don't release them all for that. There's
right. So by the time the silvers get them, they're not picked clean, right?
Not picked clean. Yeah, exactly. Gamehole Con did it the same way, though I don't know if they tiered it like that, where you still, because there's no way in hell I was getting to play with Chris Perkins.
Is there no, he'll just sit in the front row when you're playing.
Yeah.
Is there a specific event you're looking to take part in, or is it more like you're just going to take that afternoon off when you know that they're going to make the silvers available and you're just going to be scouring the list and add to basket, that sort of thing?
That's pretty much it. Like I said, I've got this, vacation that I'm going on, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of downtime in the hotel room and the flights and the airports and stuff like that. So I might research it and see what I want. But for the most part, again, being my first show for GaryCon, I don't know how many events. I know I'm already on. Skeeter saving me a seat for one of his Call of Cthulhu games.
Nice.
So yeah, so I got that. I'm good to go on that one because I want to play Call of Cthulhu. I've never played Call of Cthulhu before, and it's number 2 game next to Dungeons and Dragons for the most part. So
yeah, and I've heard nothing but great things. I mean, it's like, isn't everyone supposed to die in it, right? Like, that's the idea. You're going to go mad.
Crazy. Yeah. But no, so I want to see if there's anything fun that I can create for that. Mostly, that's
so. Do you look at a lot of the games that you play as fodder for product? Like, how can I turn this into a thing that I can sell? Or
not sell, create. Selling is just a bonus. If I'm happy creating, let's say, a Western setting for a Call of Cthulhu game in the town of Pine Box. I just enjoy creating that. Now, if I get my shit enough together to where I can present it as a product, that's the bonus.
Gotcha. So you're happy to create it and just put it in a drawer, or is you create it with the idea of, I'm going to make this thing a real thing? Like, creating it is creating the real thing. Creating is not just the act of expression, but it's the act of fixing it into some form that it can exist in. Is that right?
Yes. And then, I mean, because me, I'm the back burner king. And generally, all these ideas and stuff I create either get to the point where I can say, okay, here, world, here, have it. Or it's like stays and boils forever on the back burner. Or sometimes I'm never going to return to that, and I throw it in the bin.
Are there a lot of projects that were just like, never really came to a boil? It was just sort of like, it sat there for a while and I lost interest and it just got put in the bin?
Oh, ton of them. But I never really get rid of them. I just have portable hard drives full of these stuff. Seriously,
I think about, because you are among the most eclectic creators I know. I think I can't think of many who have done who will, like, Star Marshals, and then 4020, and then Dirk of Many Stings, and the Tea Room, and Warren Holt. Yep. And all these things, Catacombs and Comedians, Catacombs and Creators, and Wormageddon, all these things are so all over. Is there but it all, and some of them are under Zero Level Media, and Pirate Tales.
Pirate Tales, I've worked a lot on that this week. I'm so close to pulling the trigger on that and putting it out in the world. I think I might take one more pass at it.
Bring it with you on the trip.
Exactly. I'm going to print out the manuscript and bring a red pen and just go through it again. I sent it out to a couple beta readers. One got back to me with his thoughts on it. Fuck them. No.
Telling me where to go. Why I oughta.
But the general, it was well received. Generally, like he just thought, I could do a little more here, do a little more there. But it's great for a 12-year-old reader, which is what I'm aiming for.
It was a over. Your expletive was in jest.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't heard back from anyone, so I don't know if they don't have anything nice to say, they're not going to say anything at all, or no news is good news. But
right.
But I wrote a shanty for it, and I got music.
You shared this. Did you? No, you just said that. Did you? I don't know if you shared the lyrics or if you just said you just said I've written a shanty. I'm like, of course you have, Dan. Of course you have. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It is probably one of the best things I've ever written. And it's been professionally music to it now. And I'll send you the file because I'm not ready to release it out to the world. But it's a banger. It rocks.
Fantastic. Of course you have. That's all I'm saying. Eclectic, just incredibly eclectic. I love that it's everywhere.
You haven't written a shanty?
It hasn't come up yet. No, I mean, no, I don't think I've ever. I have almost always. I have. That's not fair because I feel like a lot of people talk about this all the time. Like, especially in comics, comic books and comic strips have this kind of growing up before the idea of even a limited series. You get a comic and you do it forever. And you do Superman forever. You do Spider-Man, it goes forever. Peanuts goes until the day you die at your art table, and that's a heroic victory. So the idea of ever letting go of something is tantamount to failure. And so I think of Astounding Space Thrills as kind of a failure. Yeah, I did 18 issues, but it's like, but I didn't do 19. You know what I mean? I stopped doing that at some point. And that feels like, or doing a project and that when it doesn't, connect with an audience or the timing is off, my skills aren't there. I might think it's great, but everyone thinks that's nice. There's been so many experiences like that where it's like, I feel like, I like you have more of a scattershot approach, more like let's put so many things out and see what clicks. And you've had success with that, like Catacombs and Comedians, that clicks.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more like, I stick to one thing. And then, so getting the meta domain out and putting all my energy into that has been like key. I rarely get pulled aside. I mean, I do think about other things. I'll think about the next project. But it almost always has a plan to go with it. Like, any amount of time I spend on anything, now that there are fewer days ahead of me than in the rearview mirror, everything is toward a project, is toward how is this thing pay my rent? How does this thing keep the lights on? It's all about, creating something publishable so that it can be.
And with me, it's how does this not break me? How does this not cost me too much money for the fun I have creating it?
So, that gives you the freedom to kind of to follow your whims.
Yeah.
To this will be fun. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, the most entertainment, my hobby to an extent, is is creating, and it's not. I mean, I fingers crossed 420 is huge and puts me on the map. But come on, it's so niche and it's not going to be that big of a deal. So many people make their own games and they go but it'll be fun.
That's what I said about Intoximancy. And now I have now that's what I do. So I don't know.
But no, it is what it is, and I have fun with it. And if I'm having fun with it and it's not breaking the bank while I do it, and then if I manage to make a little scratch, because there's one Catacombs Comedian show I did where I got $120 check from the venue for doing the show, but I made over $500 at my merch table.
Right.
I haven't had, that was the only night I've ever had like that, but I'm hoping, I'm doing the show right before Gen Con at Helium Club in July 30th at Helium Club in downtown Indianapolis, just 2 blocks down the street from the convention center. So
Tuesday. What day of the week is it?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yeah,
your ticket's good for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
So the idea is, having more products is great for you because that basically is going to improve your merch table, and then eventually you'll potentially have a booth at some of these events, some of these conventions.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah, I put in for one at Gamehole Con, so hopefully I'll have something there, and you can get the Grognard button, or you can get the Catacombs and Creators button, or you can get the 4D20 button, or you can
they'll be able to pick up. They might be able to pick up 4D20 there. They'll pick up one of your mini zines by then.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah, so I'll have the Dirk of Mini Stings printed up. I was looking at on this weekend to see if I can, how much it cost me to print a handful up to bring to Gary Con. Awesome. Yeah, I got to get a new traveling trunk because that last trunk I have is falling apart
from overstuffing it.
Yeah, I bring a lot of just stuff I give away for free.
Will you be driving to every one of these events?
I will be driving to Gary Con
mm-hmm.
in Lake Geneva. So again, it's like a drive 4 hours, 5 hours, crash at a hotel, and drive another 4 or 5 hours the next morning.
That's awesome. It's great that you can do
that. Yeah. Gen Con's only a 4-hour drive as it is, so that's easy.
That's great.
I can work half a day at my day job and drive out there. So
and then go to Gen Con. That's awesome.
Yeah. And Jesse, who works with me, is going to Gen Con with me. So it's like, okay, we're leaving. Bye. The warehouse shuts down.
That's excellent.
It looks like I might be going to VidCon in September. The YouTube convention.
Sure.
And that's for Jean Louise wants to go. So.
Oh, wow. That's lovely.
Because that's what she wants to do. She wants to be a YouTube influencer playing Minecraft.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Like I started taking karate classes, and there's a kids class before mine, and the kids, I swear, my parents were saying I heard children this morning they were saying, "Oh, I want to be a YouTuber." That was like the dream job.
That's what Jean Louise wants to go to this and hopefully meet some of her favorite YouTubers, and she's as excited about it as I get as excited about a Star Trek convention, which I get very excited about. So
that's excellent. I don't know what I guess it's no different than us wanting to grow up to be cartoonists or working comic books. It's like,
yeah,
it seems like it feels like there's a million miles from your little table where you're drawing or recording a video and the people who are making the real things and making all that money.
And then I don't think she'll be Ryan's World or anything. And I've, as a parent, I'm going into it very cautiously because I don't want, creeps and stuff following her. So, it'll have a very limited audience range. I mean, of course, Conley will have to subscribe just so, and give a like every now and then just to keep her impressed or keep her motivated. But no, I'm pushing this to push her creativity. I'm all for if your kid finds something creatively they want to do, let's do it. My wife's not so crazy about the idea, but we'll see how it works out.
I can see why.
Yeah.
I can see why. Yeah.
Oh, I
internet
totally do too.
The internet is a horrible place, and you'll see us here every week at Muses and Muses. It's full of creeps and weirdos.
I was working on my daughter's YouTube branding just before we started today.
Of course you were. Of course you were. Possibly a sea shanty to go with it,
and an RPG.
Yeah.
So
Dan's brain,
very much so.
there's critters, and he's working on a book, and it's awesome. It's awesome. Mad alchemist.
But yeah, that's my life in a nutshell. So
I like
what I got going on.
Well, the plan is to have proofreading of Metadomain for me this week and get the PDFs delivered to everybody. And then while those proofs are out there, I'll be delivering all the other stuff people ordered. Production of everything else is in play except the T-shirts. That was just the thing that's like, there's a few outstanding surveys, including people who ordered T-shirts, and I don't know what size they want, and I can't place the order till I know what size T-shirt. So I'm pestering those people individually. So apart from the T-shirts, I think everything else, except the zines, are in production. I'm going to get the minis this week. And then before the end of the month, Nibblemancy will launch, getting it under the wire for Zine Quest. And 160 something people have signed up to be notified when it goes live. It's technically the sequel to Intoximancy. I plan to have spells in there, which will be for Intoximancers as well. Sort of spells that I'm kicking myself that I didn't include in Intoximancy, because having it a year to think about Intoximancy, I'm like, oh man, you come across a phrase, you're like, why didn't I include that? Why didn't that stupid pun find its way into the book? And then the next one after that, which, I've already got the domain for, and I'm sketched out what the cover might be. But
yeah, I'm going to poke around Kickstarter, see if there are any other Zine Quest things that look good. I've backed one so far, just because I love the title of it, Mapazine.
That's good.
Yeah,
that could be a Dan Taylor product.
It's filed under the damn. Why didn't I think of it first?
Well, isn't part of that? Why didn't I think about it? How much of these? Well, in terms of their success, I'd say this. I think about a Kickstarter success has so much to do with the brand of the thing, and a little bit to do with the quality of the thing.
No, because most definitely.
So that's measuring the success of a thing purely by the number of people and the dollars, but not by the success of the execution of the thing. Because there are successful Kickstarters that have never delivered, which would technically make it a failure of a Kickstarter for everyone who backed it. So I don't know. It's interesting that there are some that the wonderful one was called like Mr. Persons, Purr.
I got that. I did that one.
Of course you did. Of course you did. It's super charming. The artwork was lovely.
It was $1, I think.
Yeah. And 100 trinkets. They had upper level tiers where people could collaborate and have a trinket that they would work on with the person. It's a lovely idea. Persons is a really great name for a cat guy. The style of it was lovely.
Yeah, and they did 14,000%.
Yeah, and I think I exchanged promo with them at one point from one of their previous projects, and this one blows them all out of the water. This is just like they did the right thing. Low cost, charming, simple, and a simple gimmick. Tying it all together in terms of trinkets. And
then I've got another. I'm doing that Pintopia thing.
Is that their March event?
Yes,
April
at Backer Kit.
Yeah,
and let me see real quick. And this is the pin.
That's great. How did you find a vendor for the pin?
Just online. Just found one. The same one I use for the Catacombs and Comedians.
I like the two backing, the 2 pin to keep it from spinning. That's nice.
So that's the thing. I got to finish and get that wrapped up, ready to launch. But again, these are designs I've already had sitting there. And again, this is the build. Since it's on BackerKit, this is a month before my 421. So hopefully, I mean, I'm using this to help build my email list, really.
That's good.
So lots of stuff. So busy. Yeah.
I like that design a lot. That's excellent.
I'm going to probably work up a couple more little fun dice things. I'm trying to think of doing spell specific, because we acquaint, magic missile with the D4s, the healing spells, with the D4s, the fireball D6s. So I'm thinking of design ideas to incorporate, to have those, to have a couple more options or stretch goals.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's it on my end.
So you're going to have that go live in like March ahead of the April launch of.
Yes.
Sweet. That's great.
Yeah. About a month ahead of time.
That's awesome, man.
And it should be wrapped up by the time I launch.
And what's the next convention for you?
GaryCon, end of March, like 425 or 325, 326, something like that.
Oh, wow. So your Pintopia campaign might be going on while you're there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
I'll be promoting that. I'll probably get stickers made of that Dice Are My Vice logo to have at that show.
That's great. Save me one.
Awesome. To point people to, the BackerKit campaign if it's going on. Yeah, I got to get a notebook and write down everything. Yeah, I still don't do that. I still have no idea what I'm doing. I just try to keep it all up here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's one way to go.
It's not healthy.
I don't know how you do it.
It's not healthy. It's not healthy.
Well, what about like when you're late at night, you're about to go sleep, good idea occurs to you. You just go, I'll remember that in the morning.
And I never do.
Right, of course. So you don't go like, you don't have a notebook. You don't have anything to write any of those down.
Sometimes if I really don't think I'm going to remember it, I get on my phone and email myself real quick.
Yeah, sure. Good.
But most of the times I don't. And it's because generally I end up remembering it again a week or two or a year later. And then it's just a fun surprise. Oh yeah.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
So, that's amazing. Yeah. I was going to start asking about social media and stuff like that, or if there's any other takes you had. We talked a little bit about the release schedule of D&D for 2024. Do you think there's anything to glean from it? Is there anything about in terms of people who make D&D stuff? Does that change how you do anything? Is it going to change anything about what you're up to this year?
Not for me. I don't believe so. I may keep like my War and Hold stuff while I work on it more ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's everything I have in the pipeline right now. I mean, because 420 is going to take up the majority of it from here through the summer. That and Catacombs and Comedians.
Right.
So there's not a lot of other stuff I'll be working on until the books actually come out.
Are you going to be able to share some of the process here on the weekly stream, like talking about the? Okay.
Oh,
I love to ask about it. Yeah. I consider those episodes more like you're the guest, and I'll be happy to interview you, ask you all about the process, because I'm curious about creating an RPG from the ground up, and like your.
So am I.
Well, it'll be fun.
Very curious on how it's done, but yeah.
I'm going to fund it first, then I'll figure out how to do it. There's like that chart of like, do this, and then like a question mark, and then make money. Like it's like it's A, B, make money, mystery, and then make money. And like, oh.
Right now, I would say it's playable on the 2 sheets of the bear notes that I started on. You could take those 2 and actually play a game.
Wow, that's great.
For the most part, yeah.
So the secret is to how many pages can you add before you make it impossible to understand? It's going to be 4
the main thing's going to be 4 books of 20 pages each. Right now is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you mentioned that. That's super charming.
Yeah,
Do
and
they
then
appear in a book together? You put them in a bag? How do you deliver? How do you package them?
I don't know. We'll figure it out
All right.
on one of these Sunday morning chats or Saturday morning chats. We'll figure it out.
A burlap sack.
I like the dime bag.
How do you buy these? Meet me in the parking garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you buy these. I only sell them out of my car.
Actually, they're probably illegal in some of the states. So
yeah,
illegal in my state.
It's yeah, you're gonna get in trouble. No, I swear it's a role-playing game.
But yeah, I want to get to work. I might actually have the rolling paper zine issue 0, kind of like a preview of the game. I want to try to get that out before the actual launch.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So in 2 months, you're going to have a pin.
I'm planning all this. Will any of it come out? We don't know.
All right. But I'm just talking about, like, okay, you got the pin campaign, you got GaryCon, you got the rolling paper zine, and you got the campaign page for 4D20. And we got to talk about all that. I'm gonna ask you so many questions about every step along the way.
See, this is my plan. You write down questions and notes on everything I'm doing, and that way you can remind me what I'm doing.
That's a great plan. I think we'll ask you here in the live stream, and you'll be our viewer who comes back and, what did Steve say at minute 35? The transcript sucks. He asked a question about how do I put them? How do I hold them together? That's a damn good question. I was thinking about tape, fun tag,
rubber band.
Perfect.
Actually, roach clips.
Perfect.
Oh, roach clip. That's got to be a thing.
That wouldn't increase your cost. You need more merch. You're like, it's like
more
merch. You're gonna have the coat that's got all these kind of pins and buttons on it, like every kind of merch available. It's wonderful. So I'll be sure to send you a preview copy amongst the early birds. You're not going to read it, but at least you'll look at the pictures.
If I get bored enough on the flight.
Yeah. Of Metadomain. But I'm really happy with some of the artwork I've done. A few more sculpts came out of it, STL files. Those sell off my website all the time. So now it's a thing where just trying to have the STLs to sell, have the books to sell, and just try to keep the inventory from overwhelming my office.
Remember, Steve, it's fun.
Oh yeah, it's fun. It's also the landlord. They're like, hey, pay me. So
yeah,
what are you gonna do? But
I got a guest room if you need it.
I appreciate it. The Nashville Annex. All right, my friend. Well, nicely done.
Yeah, I will chat at you. Hopefully, we'll do it next week. I should be able to.
All right, keep me posted.
Probably not the week after that. I think I'll be flying or something.
All right. Well, if I don't talk to you before then, travel safe and good luck in the world of Minecraft.
Thank you. I'm off to do that right now.
All right, man.
All right. Talk to you later. Thanks. And everybody, enjoy life. Have fun. Be creative. And may you make all of your saving throws.